I felt like it was important for me to tell this story about my journey with autism to give a light to people who are on the spectrum, that they can tell their stories as well as I have.
That was Daniel Williams sharing his experiences as a writer in Fort Wayne. Stay tuned to hear more about Daniel's journey as a writer on Pages and Voices. I'm your host, Meg Bell. We'll be back after the intro. Welcome to Pages and Voices, the local author podcast, sponsored by the Allen County Public Library. This podcast is dedicated to featuring the works of talented authors within our community. Good afternoon. This is Pages and Voices, and I'm your host, Meg Bell. Today's author guest is Fort Wayne native and regular library user Daniel Williams. Daniel is the author of 3 books. However, today we are going to focus on his 2018 release, My Voice, Faced with Autism. Daniel Ray Williams is an author living with autism who continues to achieve daily milestones. He discovered his passion for writing at age 12, creating poetry and short stories. His writing career includes the fiction collection Brothers Stand Strong, followed by his 2018 memoir, My Voice, Faced with Autism, which details his life on the spectrum. In 2023, he released his latest book, Our Voices. Daniel, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Meg. Thank you for inviting me to the podcast today.
Absolutely. We're glad you could be here.
Thank you.
So we're going to have you share a brief reading from your book, My Voice. But before you do, I'm going to tell our listeners a little bit about it. So, despite navigating life's challenges with high-functioning autism, Daniel is a persistent achiever who continues to make impressive progress. After enduring the loss of his parents and grandparents at a young age, he persevered, moving from supported housing into his own apartment. For the past 4 years, Daniel has been receiving services from Bethesda Lutheran Communities, further building his independence and facing every change in his life without giving up. Okay, Daniel, it's your turn to read.
Okay. I'm going to be reading from My Voice, Faced with Autism. I'm going to be reading a chapter from My Voice, chapter 6, if that's okay with you. I want to read about my dreams of becoming a writer. I developed a passion for writing after my 5th grade class in which we wrote a picture book. I always knew I wanted to be a writer. I wrote stories every day about what I went through. Writing really helped me get out my thoughts, good or bad. I started writing at the age of 12. I wrote poetry and short stories about my life experiences. I knew it was my gift, and it made me feel strong. People read my writing and are amazed about what I write. I wrote what I was feeling, but I wouldn't say to other people. I wrote nonfiction and fiction works. It gave me a voice to speak my mind. At this time, it was all about what I saw and when I wrote it down. I felt proud of my writing, and it was something I was passionate about. I wrote a picture book that was never published. I illustrated one picture book I wrote. I won a few awards for my writing. This is how I got involved with my writing and how I have come to where I am today. I was so mad one night that I couldn't go to a school carnival, so I sat in the back of the house and started writing. It was an essay I wrote for citizenship and placed honorable mention. That was a big accomplishment. I kept getting better and better with my writing. I had gotten help with my writing from a high school senior. It was the guy who gave me the idea for Brothers Stand Strong. The title, The Choice of Living, I wrote about everyday life. That was my first book. I still want to promote it, but it didn't get a lot of sales. I read a lot of how-to writing books, and it helped me out as well. This one particular book I read, the one my dad brought home, was on writing well. I really did enjoy the book and wish I still had it so I could refer back to my highlighting spots. I read a few other books over the years that helped me with my writing. I still make mistakes of grammar and complete sentences, but I'm learning as I go. That is what makes me a better writer. I write what I know and how I remember things that are around me. I write from what I see and what I truly mean. I write from a place where I am being myself and write out my words. If nothing else, writing is my outlet to get my pain and say my truth. Since then, I wrote third place in a local poetry contest, which published in anthologies with other aspiring writers, and was published in a book called, excuse me, published in a book called Dancing with the Pen.
Thank you for sharing. So, Daniel, you've created an authentic book detailing your formative years and the challenges of growing up with autism. As a proud member of the LGBT community and the ACPL Writers Group, your voice is an important one. Talk to me about writing your book. Why was it so important for you to share so honestly?
I had a lot of experience, with writing my stories and my personal stories, being involved in, like you said, in the LGBTQ plus community, LGBTQ community, and learning about myself, finding my voice, and telling my story authentically. It was really helpful for me to tell my experiences, my journey, being autistic, being Black. It really shaped me as a person because it really taught me a lot about myself inside and out. And I wanted to be able to be a light to so many people in the LGBTQ community that identify myself, who's been through a lot of struggles in life.
Okay. So I think you just answered my next question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. So who
Okay.
is your audience for my voice?
I have to say it will be mostly about ages 18 over, and people who are identify in that community, in the LGBTQ community, to find their voice. And in that audience, I want to be I want to share that story with those group of age, with people who are identified as like minorities and Black and African American, and also all races as well. So that's why I identify in that category for my book, My Voice.
So who are living out the same experience that you have, and so
Yes.
that could maybe help them.
Yes.
So what is the number one thing the Fort Wayne community has done to support you?
Advocacy. I think that's
The advocacy?
advocacy in the community for sure. Because I get back, I've done so many things in the community. I've been more involved with a lot of things over the years, recent years, and, being in an aspect of Fort Wayne, especially giving back for people who've done for me. I try to do the same for other people.
How do you like to give back? What's the one thing you like to do to give back?
I think it's important for me to get back, and also what I've done for Fort Wayne personally and my community has been leadership and also integrity and respect. What I've done was being more of a leader and helping other people who are in same situations that I've been in, and I wanted to give my effort and time to organizations in town.
Sort of like a mentor role?
Yes. Yes.
Makes sense. Do you think there's anything that Fort Wayne can do better to support these communities? The autism community and the LGBTQ plus community?
Be more diverse as well. Like, be more diverse. Having a shed a light on people who are, have disabilities and, they are limited to things that they are not able to do, like like never typical people, like other people who are not on the spectrum. Be, I should say, like, just be able to be just an example, and to set that that tone, to be able to be a positive person, giving back, giving their time, their offering their time, helping other people. I think that's what I really want more to see in Fort Wayne and all over the United States as well too.
More people volunteering their time to help these minorities in the community.
Yes.
That makes sense. Talk to me about the Bethesda Lutheran community. How did you get involved with that organization?
Well, it wasn't, I'll say this, back in 2014, I was in services through Bethesda Lutheran Communities. I was clarified in the book about my experience with Bethesda Lutheran Communities. I was placed in 24-hour service, home service, where I was in a Weber home, 3 Weber homes at the time. And I was placed in 24-hour supervision with residential staff. And I was limited to a lot of obstacles of, things I could do and what I couldn't do in the waiver homes. I was limited with, limited staff and also with outings and no supervision. No freedom to do the things that I wanted to do that get me out of the community. And it was a very traumatic experience, me being in those services because I was limited to that time away from my family as well. And it was for the 6 years I was with the company, I was, restricted to having any type of have any less supervision, not having any more type of, rights to be able to say this is not right. This is
More freedoms.
freedom to do the things that I want to do in the community, like having, friendships and relationships, and I was restricted from that.
How old were you? You said 2014 to 2020 you were with the Bethesda
Yes.
Lutheran community?
Yes, that was right up there.
How old were you during that time?
I was 22 when I was beginning services with Bethesda, and I left right during the pandemic. I had with residential staff at the time. I was limited again. Like I said, it was more community home based, but it was also with roommates.
Mm-hmm. And sounds like it was full-time care.
Yeah, full-time care with staff, 24 hours.
So when you left Bethesda Lutheran Community, what organization? Did you go to another organization or did you just get out on your own?
I switched to another company short after that, but it was brief with another agency at the time, which was Broad Step. And I was with staff for like half that period of time, not 24 hours, but it was more community outings or errands or whatever I had to get done. And then shortly after in 2021, and around that time, I was independent. I still have received services from other agencies and other like behavioral management and recreational therapy.
Okay. You still now to this day you have those services?
Yes, I do still.
Okay.
To this day.
Okay. So you have your own apartment. You're just supported by some agencies in town at this point.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Understood. So you're very involved with the Fort Wayne Pride. Can you tell listeners about that organization and how you became involved with them?
Well, early in 2015, I was involved with Fort Wayne Pride. I was attending different events for the committee. I wasn't on the committee, but I was part of the community with Fort Wayne Pride. I was attending the different events during the year, like Pride skating, Pride the Pride prom. I was involved with Tin Caps night at Tin Caps for Pride night, and I was also involved with the Pride Festival. I was volunteering for about 4 times. I volunteered for Fort Wayne Pride. It's the beginning when I was in part of when I met with Nikki Phelps. She's the director of the Fort Wayne Pride Committee. As I met her through Fort Wayne Pride, and me and her connected over time. And then I met with several other committee members, and I volunteered. I started attending my first Fort Wayne Pride Festival in July of 2015, and I have been going for the last 10 years.
Regularly. Okay. Daniel, you've had to overcome some hardships. Where have you drawn strength from through it all?
My experience with, hardships that I experienced in my life was, mainly was the strength of, God and how he's kept me alive through all the trials and tribulations I've experienced in my life, personally dealing with the deaths of my grandparents and then also my parents. That was a big unfortunate circumstance I went through with my parents, losing them very young.
You were 18 and you had lost
19.
both of them. 19.
Yeah, 19. My mom was, lost my mom when I was 19 years old. And then and my dad was, I lost my dad when I was 21. So it was a year to 2 years gap.
Yeah.
And it was very hard to lose both of my parents at a young age. I was very, very, very young, transitioning in life. And then my mom died when I was in high school. And that was a very hardship that I went through, losing my mom very young.
You end the book by saying, "My voice matters." Is there still more to be done?
Yes, there is more to be done. Just the more I work hard on myself and more, effort to continue to do the work in myself and making the commitment to change and to be a voice continuously, I think there is more changing that needs to be done and more constant, revolvement that I need to complete within this life. And I feel like that is my own mission, to continue to be a positive a force for people like myself, and also offering that to others.
Yeah. So talk to me about writing the book. And now, again, we're talking about My Voice Faced with Autism, which was which year did the 2020?
2018.
2018 release.
2018.
Okay. So how long did it take you to write My Voice Faced with Autism?
It took me about 2.5 years, almost close to 3 years writing My Voice. It was a process, I was just writing, just writing from, just what my knowledge was about my life based up until that point. And I was just, expressing my opinions. A lot of it in the book was just, I had to protect their innocence, the names, and I covered up their names just for certain situations due to, certain situations I was in, to protect the people I was writing about. And I was very careful doing that. But I felt like it was important for me to tell this story, this book, memoir, about my journey with autism, to give a light to people who are on the spectrum, that they can tell their stories as well as I have.
Yeah, absolutely. If you had to write it over again, would you do anything differently?
I think it would be important for me to just mention myself, of course, to just be able to be like the way it was, authentically, about my journey with, maybe some things about, like, not a lot about my family, but it'd be more so about myself.
Okay,
Who
got you.
would give a light to my story versus their story, instead of sharing so much about them and then be about me. And I think that would be important for me to just tell it as it's a cross of become between yes and no. But I want to make sure that I tell, the story that I want to share about my experience, with that. So I would have to say yes or no. And I think it's between both of them that I would like to share that.
Sure. So was your family happy or unhappy about any of the things you shared about them? Did they support?
No, they didn't, unfortunately. And
Okay.
I think it was a lot of turmoil, because my family were, well, don't say this or don't say that. I'll just be. And I think it wasn't like intentionally. I wasn't trying to make it anything that was
Yeah.
negative or anything about my mom or my dad, especially. It was a really tough spot to be in, because I think I wasn't trying to make it seem like that my parents were these people that were not careful,
Right.
and they were not caring about me, but they had their faults. Yeah.
You were trying to share authentically.
Yes,
And
yes.
part of that is being honest and
Honest and real.
yeah, sure. So, were there any resources you found helpful while writing the book?
Resources that I found in the book.
Any resources you found helpful while writing the book? I know you were an active member at the writers group at that time, and
Yes, I did attend.
I wasn't sure if that was a helpful resource for you. If you had a book that you read, anything you watched online.
There were some memoirs that I was reading about other people's stories that I was inspired by, learning about them. But the Writers Forum was another outlet for me to write about my experiences and have that support of a community helping me with my, writing in my book at the time.
Were you sharing what you wrote with the group? Were they
Yes.
giving you feedback on it?
Yes, they
Okay.
were.
Okay.
Yes, they were.
Did you have anyone review the material before you published it?
Yes, I had a group of friends and community leaders who were involved with my writing and were helping me editing at the time before I released my book.
Nice. That's helpful. Was there any part of the book that was hard for you to share with readers? Any part of your story that was tricky?
I wanted to let me backtrack. But I just wanted to share about my traumatic experience with, being, bullied. That was something that I was very conscious of, and also, being bullied. That was the biggest thing that I was very scared of writing about in the book, about my journey with being bullied in school, because it was a tough time for me going to school without my parents and being sheltered in my home, and people not liking me as a person, which was very difficult to write about.
Oh, I can imagine. So you self-published
Yes.
your book. Who did you self-publish with?
I self-published through Kindle Direct Publishing on Amazon
Okay.
online.
So was that a pretty easy process?
Yes, it was. It was very easy. It was free. It didn't charge me anything. The only thing they allowed me to do was to set my own price, and they had me, design the book the way I wanted. But it had to be there had to be certain requirements for me to self-publish to get the book made in the way that they offer me to have it done, and like spellbound, and the pages had to be a certain outlet, and they had to put like all the pages in one, like two sections, and letterhead, and also the formatting. It was a lot of technologies that they were, having me to do with the requirements for the book.
So you just went through the Amazon site?
Yes.
And then they give you like a step-by-step guide of what to do once you're there?
Yes.
Okay. So how did you come up with the cover? Did you create the cover on the site too?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Their website was. They also allowed me to design it through their Create Space. I think it was.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. This picture of you on the front, I think I recognize the building. You at the Grand
Wayne Center. Yes, yes, downtown.
Did somebody take that for you?
Yes, I had a photographer take it for me.
Okay.
One of my friends that were a photographer, they took pictures of me while I was at the Grand Wayne Center. That was in April of 2018.
Okay. I like it. So how can fans reach you, Daniel?
I'm on a lot of social media. I have Facebook, Daniel Williams. I have Instagram, Dan_delightful. TikTok, Daniel Wills 27. And then I have a couple other sites that I have, forums. I have a blog as well. I'm on blog posts.
Okay.
Blogger, which is DanielH6010 at yahoo.com.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like people have ways to get in touch with you if they have questions about the writing process or any of these communities you've been a part of.
Yes.
So I'm going to move into some fun questions now. So if you could spend the day with one author, who would you pick?
I would have to say two of them, actually, if that's all right.
Yep.
I would like to spend time with Walter D. Myers.
Okay.
I would like to spend time with another author that I would like to work or meet with, Dallas Woodburn.
Okay. If you could travel to any place on Earth, where would you go?
I would go to Europe. I would go to Europe.
Sure. Any place specific in Europe, or are you just like taking a train through Europe and you're seeing everything?
Take train to Europe and see what it's like there, and see what it's the excitement, and seeing the sighting and all the shops, and just taking a train to explore, get out of the country to see what it's like.
The history and how people do it over there. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If your book were made into a movie, who would you want to play you?
Oh, that is a good question. I I would have to say it could be a fictional or a real actor. I think it would be an upcoming actor. Or also, I was thinking of this guy the other day too, and I was thinking of him, and some people referenced me of him. I would have to say Jordan Peele
Yeah.
as a younger or older adult would play me as a character.
You do look
in my
like
book story.
You do look like him. I've never thought about it before.
Yeah,
but
Jordan
now
Peele.
that you mentioned that, absolutely, 100%. So, what's your favorite thing to do on your time off?
My favorite time I like to do on my off time. I would have to say I just lounge around, just watch movies or, just do
Netflix and
chill. Yeah. Or streaming services or DVDs.
Yeah.
I like watching Good Times. It's a good, really, really good show.
Yeah,
It's
the sitcom from the 70s.
Sitcoms, yeah.
Sure, I'm familiar. So what's next, Daniel?
Yeah, so the next thing for me, I have another book that I'm working on right now. It's another book project. It's called The Journey, and it's a more of a faith-based, religious aspect of my journey with God and my experiences with God, and also with helping other people with their faith and sharing my insights about my journey with God and presence with my internal personal experience with God, touching in that atmosphere in that realm. I've also been doing community activities in Fort Wayne where I was with recreational therapy, with services I receive, and just staying busy within the community still in Fort Wayne, being more of a inspiration to people who are, like myself, to continue to use my voice, still be involved in the LGBTQ community. The opportunities out there for me to get out in my community to be a light and to, if I have anybody that is interested in helping me get to my, more involved in Fort Wayne, just please let me know.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Thank you for joining us on Pages and Voices today. It's been great to get to know you better.
Thank you so much, Meg.
Yeah, and thank you to those who listened in. Stay tuned for more authors on Pages and Voices. I'm your host, Meg Bell. Until next time. Thank you for joining us on Pages and Voices, a source for local authors and their stories. From the studios of Access Fort Wayne at the Allen County Public Library in downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana, I'm your host, Meg Bell. A special thank you to Kay Gregg for her work engineering and editing this episode. We've explored fascinating stories and insightful discussions today, but our journey doesn't end here. Find more episodes of Pages and Voices wherever you listen to podcasts. If you enjoyed this podcast, please show your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing it with your friends and family. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations with the area's authors and their insights into the written word. Until next time, keep turning the pages, and we look forward to welcoming you back soon.